At 23 years old, I won a British Natural Bodybuilding Championship. Fitness was my life. I would go to the gym 5 to 6 times a week. My nutrition would be on point. I'd train as much as I could. And fitness basically revolved around my life. 3 or 4 years after that, I became a dad for the first time. And this is something that I see with a lot of the guys that I coach. 10, 20 years ago, they were in the shape of their life when it was easy and they could do what they needed to. But as life progressed, their career, their family, they now need a different way of life of doing it. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I got back in shape when I became a dad and how you can too. Here is what I think happens when you become a parent, and I think this happens to most guys. Everything starts to shift. Your sleep goes from 8 to 10 hours a night to whatever you can get. You're suddenly now doing nursery runs in the morning instead of thinking about your morning meal. And just the time that you had before is just not there anymore. Even things like just a headspace to think about work, training, nutrition, steps, it's all things that just kind of get pushed back a little bit because other priorities are there. And the natural response is just to try and force this old routine into this new lifestyle. And it might work for 3 or 4 weeks until suddenly you realize that this is just not sustainable and you're thinking, how can I do this? And this is the thing with a lot of the dads that I speak to is they're not lazy, they're not ill-disciplined, they just don't now have the system to set up for their life now comparative to what it was like 10 or 15 years ago. So what actually changed for me to be able to get in photo shoot condition, sit at a body fat year round that I love to be at with 2 kids, and training less than I ever have. Now, the honest answer is not much has actually changed. Just the way I view it and the way I go about it has. Calories, protein, steps, cardio, those levers are all the same. They just kind of get pulled a bit differently. And I really stopped trying to be perfect and started focusing on what I could actually control instead. I've gone from training 5 to 6 days a week to now only doing 3 days a week. I've gone from focusing on macros and focusing on my carb and fat goal, perfectly hitting them at the end of each day to a T, to only caring about a protein range and a calorie goal. All of these things has made fat loss for me incredibly simple rather than overcomplicating it. I used to eat multiple meals per day, but now the mornings are full of runs to school, to nursery, to doing things, activities after. I can't now do that within my lifestyle, so I've now simplified it to just eating 3 meals a day instead. So rather than every day becoming this big chore of things that I can't get done, it's almost a mini tick box now. Have I hit my protein and calories? Yes. Have I hit my steps? Yes. Have I got a good enough amount of sleep where I can function? Most likely. And have I trained? Those are the things that I only really care about each day. How I do them, how I get them is very different to what I used to do. So with training, because I know that's what a lot of guys need to focus on, this is very simple, just 3 times a week. Not 4, not 5, not 6, just 3 sessions a week that you go hard on. For me personally, I do an upper session, which is push focused. I do a lower and arms day, and then I do another upper session, which is pull focused. This allows me to hit my upper body twice per week. My legs don't need as much volume, and I go in with the aim to progress these sessions every week. So if I've done 100 kilo on a bench press for 5 to 6 reps the previous week, my goal is to go in to either increase the reps or increase the weight. If I'm doing a lat pull down for 8 to 10 reps and I do 70 kilo, the next week I might go and do 72.5. Very simple stuff done consistently just 3 times a week. And because it is only 3 times, it is 3 hours of my week that I need to preserve for myself. And I think most guys can find that within their routine to do it. I've honestly now made the best gains in the last 4 to 5 years by just doing this very simple routine. Like, I've managed to get stronger than I ever have at a lighter body weight, and I feel good for it. It's something that I wish that I did back when I was younger, but I think we all just do things that we think is best for us because more is better when it's not. Now with food, this is just very simple, very structured, and just repeatable. I think with a lot of guys, they confuse this into making it something more complicated than it needs to be. And this is the thing, when you're tired and when you're busy and you're making decisions off of emotion, it's very easy to do that. That kind of takeaway becomes a lot more appealing, or that meal deal with very little protein in becomes the right choice for the day for you when deep down you probably know it isn't. So I just do 3 meals a day that's built around my structure. So for me, first meal of the day is at 1 p.m. That's not because breakfast is bad or anything, it just works for my life. I just end up having my first meal at 1. This is about 50 grams of protein, and it's either a yogurt bowl or a burger mince bowl. I usually have dinner with my kids at around about 5 or 6 p.m. and this will have another 50 grams of protein in of some sort: chili, spag bowls, risottos, however you want to make them, just make them higher in protein. And then before bed, I'll probably have either another yogurt bowl or a protein bar and a protein shake. This for me, it hits protein, it's enjoyable. I can do that every single day, and I'll probably eat yogurt till the day I die. And it's something which I can stick at for a long, long time, which is what you need to find with your diet. So beforehand, steps was never really something I purely focused on too much. I used to do a lot of cardio, and steps would just be kind of a goal that I would try and adhere to. But now it is the pure focus of what I do. So steps, that's the daily non-negotiable. I have a target for the week on average, and if some days are more and some days are less, that's fine, because my total over the week is what I'm aiming for. And you should probably do the same too. So if your goal is 10,000 a day, that's 70,000 over the week, and that might vary. You might get more on the weekend when you've got more free time, and you might do less in the week when you're a bit busier with the kids and other things going on. They're so low impact when it comes to how it makes you feel, but high impact when it comes to fat loss, that it should be one of the main things that you try and prioritize. I would try and do this over any cardio or any other routine like that. Just have a step goal you can hit every day. With sleep, you kind of just need to accept it for what it is. You cannot optimize sleep like you could when you're in your early 20s. You can't just switch off at 9 or 10 at night and then wake up at 8 or 9 the next morning. You have these routines and you have things that you've got to fall into. And that just means potentially doing a training session when you're tired, eating the right things when you're not motivated, and making sure that you're tracking and logging things every day when you can't be bothered because you've had a bad night's sleep. Even doing those is what moves you forward. And this is the thing, because you've got a system, because you've got a simple structure, even when you're tired and you can't be bothered, it still works on that day. It's not something that then becomes, oh, I need to go and hit my macros, or I need to go and do this extra session because it's planned in the diary. It's the very simple steps which anyone can really do. One of the things I talk about a lot with my clients is being in a position where you can kind of get lean in 6 to 8 weeks. And that's the thing that can happen when you maintain a decent physique year round. I got in photo shoot shape while my second was on the way, not because of anything magical, it's just because the foundations was there. And I've done it twice since, doing 2 multiple 6 to 8 week diets, having 2 kids. I think the most important thing that changes when you actually get in shape is not just the physical side of things, there's the mental aspect of it as well. You go from having a lack of energy playing with the kids, or a lack of energy just doing day-to-day tasks, to suddenly being able to do them again without even realizing. Along the journey of losing 10, 20, 30 pounds, which is exciting, you've actually got your energy back for once, you've got your momentum and your mojo back for once as well. And I think that discipline spills into other aspects of life, like your career and your job and other aspects too. Like, we have a lot of guys that work with us in our program that will get in amazing shape, but also really improve their careers as well at the same time. And like, while that might be a fluke, sometimes I think there's a correlation between you being in great shape and you being able to operate at your best, not only as a dad, a husband, wife, partner, whatever, but as someone in your business or your job or your career as well. And I think what then happens is most guys don't realize that they're chasing abs, they're just chasing that feeling of feeling better again, which, to be honest, I think that's what it's all about, and is completely achievable for anyone watching this. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be days where you just don't want to do it. There's going to be days where you cannot be bothered to train, you cannot be bothered to do your steps, you want to just grab a pizza as a takeaway rather than like the meal that you've planned in. But if you do stick at it, if you do keep going and you stick to the process that you've set yourself and goals and timelines, there's no reason why you can't achieve it. We've done it so many times with a lot of the guys that we work with. Fake Stuart here, for example, became a first-time dad and got in photo shoot shape at the same time. Same with Sean here as well. Again, similar situation. For the first time, he'd seen himself in the leanest he'd ever been. These are just constant things that we'd be able to help guys with in our coaching, because they follow the system, which is very simple, that they can approach to their new life. And honestly, getting in shape as a dad mean more than winning bodybuilding shows when I was 23, because now you're doing it for different reasons, which are better ones. If you're in a position right now where you've been in shape in the past and perhaps you can't get back to that because you have no idea what approach to take, in the description below, we've got a free guide which you can download and get started with it today. It will give you the run through of your protein, your calories, the training you need to be doing, the approach you need to be taking to tracking everything. And you'll also get me in your inbox for the next 7 days telling you exactly the process that you need to follow too. Grab it, download it, get started today, and subscribe for more content like this.